Oh, this episode of Cinema Swirl is brought to you with the support of our backers over at patreon.com/Cinema Swirl. $5 OTP backers get instant access to every episode of our monthly exclusive bonus show, Cinema Swirl, where Kevin and I review bad movies. But because it's summer bonding, we're not doing a Cinema Swirl. We're doing a reverse swirl. That's right now you can head over to patreon.com/Cinema Swirl and hear our review of a film that I've seen and Kevin hasn't. 007, James Bond, Spectre, and we've got all the previous reverse swirls on there and all the cinema swirls on there. If that sounds interesting to you, head on over to patreon.com/Cinema Swirl to find out more. Alright, let's get bloody swirling.
Cinema Swirl! Bang! Bzzz. Wow, that's one fun bee gun. It's episode number 131. Coming to you from the apiary of Hollywood, California. It's me, your old pal, Captain Kevin, joined by 0007 Sam Chaplin.
Hi. Have we done 00 Kevin? Has that been a thing that we've done?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I went my whole life not doing that.
No.
It's 00 Kevin, and I'd like a glass of martini, please. And here we are. Yes, it is summer bonding once again, when the temperature gets ratcheted up.
Ooh.
And we have to unleash an imperialistic killing machine upon the rest of the world to make pithy remarks at women and henchmen.
Call me Sean Evans, Kevin, because this is a hot one. The weather's hot. It's quite hot outside.
I loved when Sean Evans was asked why he got rid of that one episode of Hot Ones, and he was like, oh, well, we kind of had to. And then he was like, why did you get rid of that other episode of Hot Ones, though? He's like, well, after I got rid of one, I didn't want to get rid of others. Right. So, he's in a hard position there. Like, I feel like Hot Ones transcripts could be admissible in court. So maybe you want them all up there, just especially if any of them get cancelled or do something wrong. When someone is under, never mind some sort of a truth serum, you have them under the brow of a fucking spicy chicken wing.
Yeah. See, now,
you tell the truth then, Mr. Bond.
I thought this was a bit of a wild tangent, but the more I'm thinking about it, Sean Evans is a guy who is impervious to the torture that he inflicts upon others. He's got a Bond bad guy superpower. He's destroyed his taste buds. Like, the man can't taste anymore. Like, there's nothing there.
This needs to be a grassroots creator-led movement to get Sean Evans to be the next James Bond.
Yes.
Because that's the only way. Otherwise, Bond's going to go woke. Yeah. I can't have that.
No. But hey, James Bond, summer bonding. We're back. We're doing it. We're here again.
Yes, there are still lots of James Bond movies left, which Sam still hasn't seen. Although, I don't want to say we're quite at the bottom of the barrel, but I have noticed a dreg or two floating by me.
Okay.
And some of you might go, oh, A View to a Kill. Prime cinema swill fodder, no doubt. Well, we're doing reverse swirl over there.
Yes.
I wanted to not have to be the Sam for a Bond episode, so we're doing A View to a Kill, and ye voted for it.
Ye did, and ye voted overwhelmingly for A View to a Kill. The Living Daylights and Dr. No, you're having none of it. View to a Kill. 43% of the vote. The other two pretty much split down the middle.
I think the problem with Dr. No, it was the problem with Leave and Remain. I think the no in there, like if we could change that verbiage, like Dr. Not Yes, that I think would have gotten people, like you would have said, oh, I'm definitely not going to vote for Dr. No. But in the ballot box, if you saw a Dr. Not Yes,
then you're tempted.
X marks the spot.
We didn't put in the Lazenby one this time.
No, because he needs his own special one, right?
his own special thing.
I'm not. He is, and I kind of feel like he's like a precious antique figure. Like you know, we'll let him, but we're not letting him be played with all the other toys, obviously. So he will have his own special time where he's taken down like a not haunted ventriloquist dummy, and we have a nice time on Her Majesty's Secret Service. But until then, Sam, we have to watch a movie that made 3 times its budget, Hollywood blockbuster extraordinaire. Ergo can easily be on Cinema Swirl. We're talking about the last hurrah of Roger Moore as James Bond, A View to a Kill, which we even said in a previous episode of Summer Bonding, you got to watch just for the theme song alone. My favourite, might I add.
And you don't like music. Well, you don't have time for music. You like music.
That's different, yeah. When I see all of ye enjoying music, I opine upon it as a god might as he look upon his creations.
Sure.
What are they doing over there? Oh, I envy their simple pleasures.
This is perhaps one of the clunkier Bond titles, I would say. So I'm really going on. Roger Moore's in it. It's towards the end of Roger Moore's Bond tenure.
No. The end.
It is the end. This is the end.
The end.
So is this just pre-Brosnan?
No.
Who was after Moore?
Last Bond that we had last year.
Sorry.
Sweet Timmy D in the house.
The pre-Timmy D, at the very end of the Moore era. There will be no more.
I know, ironic in its own sense. And we're all looking like a couple of grade A Roger morons pining for more at the end of this. I mean, if there's anything I have to ask you, other than the cumbersome phraseology of its title,
A View to a Kill,
and also, you know, people doing that interesting thing where they're all saying in the comments, this should be a swill.
Yeah.
But I noticed that you all still voted for it and made that remark.
What's going on there?
Can you tease apart anything about A View to a Kill from those few key pieces of intel you've gathered?
Here's my guess. It's shit because Roger Moore is all old and should have stopped doing it by this point.
What's your star wipe rating then? We might as well finish up early then.
It's my guess.
It's all right, everyone. He figured out all the secret bits.
I can't get past the title. I know grammatically it does make sense, but I want it to be A View of a Kill, but then that sounds a bit creepy.
You're a lover of puns, and dare I say, I would say the labouring of a pun. I think you take some sort of sick pleasure in it. So, take it apart here. A View to a Kill. What are the words that we are allegedly playing on here? I take a view to...
I don't get it. A View to a Kill.
A View to Kill.
A View to Kill?
Is it A View to Kill or A View to a Kill?
A View to a Kill.
Jesus, who put that in there?
A View to a Kill.
I know it's the 80s and the A Team is like the #1 television
is it A View to
program.
A Kill? Hold on. A View to a Kill.
It's V2K, V2 Kill.
It's a View to a Kill. It is officially A View to a Kill.
It's officially A View to a Kill.
Look.
What does that mean?
I know as we're saying this, someone is furiously typing in the comments or in our email inbox to say, it means this. Right. It's related to this, you thickos.
That's right. Fuel our engagement.
I'm going to pronounce things wrong on purpose so that you leave a comment.
But like, what even is James Bond? Like, who's he? Who plays James Bond? I simply don't know. There's no way to know, and I don't know who directed this movie either.
No. Okay.
Do you?
No. It's got Roger Moore in it. It's got, according to you, a good song, a good Bond song. The best, one of the best. Kevin's waggling his finger. The greatest Bond song of all time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's good. That's good. I'm excited to hear that.
That's like 2 minutes of the movie sorted then. You know what I mean? Like you've got, and the credits might be a nice soothing balm at the end then, you know, because they will play it a second time.
I don't know who does that song. I think we're in the 80s at this point.
I know, Sam, not Blink 180s
no.
too. Your favourite, huh? No, they're not here. They're probably not even born yet, man.
I don't know who else is in this.
They are. Really? You know who the villain is?
No.
Jeez, you're going to have a good time, Sam.
A View to a Kill.
This surprisingly, Sam, there's not a clue to what actor plays the villain in the title of the movie. That's not there.
There was a thing that happened in our WhatsApp chat. Sorry to give you all a peek behind the curtain. Yes, we speak on WhatsApp.
I kind of feel like that should be live streamed. I kind of feel like, and everyone should tell me what to say to Sam and what he should say back to me.
For North Americans, that's iMessages, but better and not locked to a specific kind of phone.
And the thing is, they're secure, so I can't read them. Sam can't read them. No one can read them. They're just pointless.
End to end encrypted. We can't get in. We can't see the messages. We know we've said something. But you put a little emoji on a message when we were confirming which film had won. You put a smiley sunglasses emoji reaction and then said, "Oh, there's a little clue in there. Guess what it is?" And look, this is either going to make me sound stupid or I think I might. I feel like 80s Bond would have, because it was a different time. Is there some X-ray specs component here? Is Bond
Sorry, I just realised you were saying it because you're saying Bond. I thought you were about to say Bono, because there's in certain circles sunglasses emoji is that means Bono. If your child has that emoji, it means they're talking about Bono or U2 as well. And if there's a ruler in there, it means they're talking about The Edge. Okay?
Yes.
Also in U2.
The album How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb was about his time in the Bond franchise and what
exactly.
I suspect X-ray specs and some special glasses that he might be able to see through certain things, ostensibly for spy reasons, but we know what Bond is like.
So are you anticipating it like getting naff here? Is that it? Like we're going to get kind of hokey? Because you know when we did or Dalton Bond, License to Kill.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was a bit more violent than you would probably expect from Roger Moore in his elder years.
Yes, I enjoyed Timmy D.
So is the night goofiest before the dark dawn?
I think he will, well, the franchise will sort of absolutely go as far as it could possibly go with the idea of a Roger Moore silly Bond, and it will have been a turning point where people have gone, that's simply too much, we need to rethink.
How could Bond cross the line, and not in the way that he frequently actually crosses any number of given lines?
Have we had X-ray specs in Bond before? Sorry, I feel like I've seen someone in one of these films putting on glasses and be like, "Oh, nudie ladies." I think Brosnan had them on at some point.
We had infrared's not X-ray specs,
but it's like, you know, the modern equivalent.
Check out the Predator over there with his X-ray specs. What did he get from a magazine, did he?
So I think there's some of that. I think there's goofy gadgets. I think there's quips. I imagine there's funny transportation.
You're just describing Spectre, the movie that we reviewed for Reverse Swirl.
Yes.
Because there was gadgets and there was quips and there was... You're just describing Bond.
But that film, head on over to patreon.com/cinemaswirl to listen to review of Spectre. That film felt like it was calling back to a different era in some ways. It was trying to acknowledge that and take parts of that. And I think some of that era is here. And I might want to describe it as silly shit. There might be some silly shit in this.
I don't think it's fair to ask you to opine back to earlier Bonds, because I feel like even like the Roger Moore one we did was so obviously like the best Roger Moore Bond.
Yeah.
That I feel like doing that is just setting this movie up to get a right kicking.
Okay.
When you get to watching it. But is it fair to say though that we've watched a lot of different types of Bond?
Yeah.
Old Bond is not necessarily bad Bond by any stretch.
No. And it's not necessarily the best and classic and, perfect.
Like sometimes he can become Japanese and...
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing we didn't have video episodes then because we looked very confused during that bit.
We did. I don't know what's happening in it. I don't know who's in it, aside from Roger Moore. I think we've got to a point with Bond now where we can just say, look...
Give us me Bond, yeah?
Give it here. Let's be having you.
Let's be having this James Bond.
Yeah. There's something very fun about the end of an era for good or bad reasons. Like when someone comes to the end of their tenure.
Yeah, there's kind of a gracelessness often to the exits of these. I know. I mean, that being said, I've not seen No Time to Die, so it could be a fitting end and then some. But this will definitely be an end of an era. Not necessarily of summer bonding, but you won't look at a Roger Moore movie ever again. This is like putting in...
I won't look at one ever again.
No.
Okay.
Not in the same way, at least. This is like introducing kind of a long-lasting, like, radioactive marker into your bloodstream. We call it smart blood bond, and basically what it means is every time you see him again, you will probably think of this movie as opposed to all the good stuff that you might have noted. Even Alan Partridge bits where they make reference to him for a gag, you'll be fixated on A View to a Kill.
A View to a Kill. I'm now wondering what he does in this or what happens in this. I feel like it's going to be bad or problematic.
I've heard of A View to a Kill, Sam, but a mail to a bag?
Let's go to the mailbag.
Dun, dun, dun.
Welcome to Mailbag. Thank you, as ever, for your questions, queries, comments, other bits and bobs into cinemaswirl@gmail.com.
And that's cinemaswirl@gmail.com, and I'll have a vodka dirty bag shaking around, a dirty bag full of mail all shook up.
Yes, right. Well,
not stirred.
Well, our first question here, our first correspondence comes through from Kendrick in the US of A. Now, I don't know for sure whether or not that's Kendrick Lamar. I'm going to assume it is. Kendrick writes the following.
Now, Kendrick either called out a paedophile or is a paedophile.
He's the one who called out the paedophile.
Good on him, I'd say. I'd say good on him, you know?
So
good on him.
Kendrick writes, hey, Drake. No, he doesn't.
Hey!
No, Kendrick writes... say Drake, but hello, Sam and Kevin. Sorry, Kendrick. I'm sure you get this all the time. I apologize. Hello, Sam and Kevin. I have a critically important, potentially meta-defining question for the pod. I also have one observation you may find funny. The question I have is, was Stanley the dog named after your man, Stanley Kubrick?
Stanley. I've heard of Stanley the dog, but Stanley the Kubrick.
So, unfortunately, Kendrick, no. Stanley was not named after Stanley Kubrick. I came into Stanley's life after he had been named, a good number of years after he had been named. He was about...
But would you say, though, that, like, kind of, you don't dislike the fact that they have the same name, do you?
No, I really like it. Yeah, it's great. And,
like, you're not going to be correcting anyone if they, like, might wrongly...
No,
you can wrongly assume that at home for fun, and it's fine.
My partner, Sophie, said she just liked the name Stanley for a dog.
Yeah, I get there's certain human names that really suit animals.
Yes.
Joe believes that the name Ian for a cat, but that's your dad, so obviously I don't want to make out like I'm trying to curse your dad or anything.
I'm not even kidding. Sophie, before knowing me, wanted to call Stanley Ian. That was a contender for Stanley's name, because it's a funny name to give a dog, to call a dog Ian. But that would have been strange.
In fairness, though, it's funny to call a human Ian as well. Like, it is like,
as my dad knows.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I love that they called your dad Ian. I think that's great. Like,
so
whoever decided to name Ian Wright Ian, yeah, they knew what they were doing, Sam. Yeah?
They did.
All I know about Ian Wright is that because a friend of mine's dad was a big wig at Carpetright. Ian Wright did a Carpetright advert.
Yeah.
Where instead of going Ian right, they went Carpet right.
Yeah.
And no, we're not plugging them. I'm just a customer.
There was a golden era of footballers doing adverts. A lot of Pizza Hut ones.
It's funny enough, it does coincide with the golden era of Carpetright as well, you know? Those two things were like clustered together.
So yeah, Stanley's got no connection to Stanley Kubrick. But now he does.
Although
in a way.
we eagerly await his great works.
Yes, we do.
Of which there will be many.
He's been doing a lot of research. He hasn't put anything to film yet, but he's doing his research. Kendrick's observation. The observation is this. During your recent episode on Eyes Wide Shut, Sam said he loved the way Kubrick captured New York and said it looked really lovely. Well, good news for Sam. That entire movie was shot in England. Various parts were filmed in London, Suffolk, and Hatton Garden. So congrats, Sam.
They're all English like you. I bet all the New Yorkers had a right laugh at that. Hey, these guys think they're New York over here.
Turns out you love the look of your own sweet home country, and Kubrick, even though he wasn't British, made it look a beauty. Cheers from your man in the US of A, Kendrick.
Thank you, Kendrick. Kubrick played a blinder there. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
played a blinder, stitched me up like a
blinder.
kipper. Yeah. He's got me there. He has got me there. I was like, oh, New York looks so beautiful. That is where I am now. That's where I'm
kipper.
from. Oh, it still looks like New York. It's impressive. To me, that felt like New York.
If you let Stanley Kubrick loose in your house, you'd probably walk downstairs into the bathroom and you'd go, oh, sure, I'm in New York City here now, am I? Huh? They got the big taps, hot and cold.
Yeah.
Here in the States.
He knows what he knew what he was doing, that Stanley Kubrick. I'll say that about him.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing when he faked the moon landing.
I'm still thinking about Eyes Wide Shut, by the way.
Good, I'm glad.
Thinking about the title of it. I don't get why the title is what the title is.
Dun, 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 dun. England. He hears it everywhere, even at the football games.
We're not talking about Kubrick and Eyes Wide Shut today.
No, we're talking about literally the opposite of that. We're going to watch something that fails to hit the mark of being pastiche and silly Billy. And I can't wait, because this is genuinely one of my favourite Bond movies to watch in the whole wide world. Okay. And ain't no one can tell me otherwise.
Oh.
I think you'll have a nice time.
Do you think I'll have a laugh?
Are you game for a laugh?
I'm game for a laugh. I'm up for a giggle. Game for a giggle. There's another one, isn't there? There's some sort of, chuckle positive, I would say,
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Do they come back with results?
Oh, there it is again. Oh no. No, I'm up for a laugh.
Up for a laugh.
I'm up for a laugh.
For a bit of Bond.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
In the spirit of summer bonding, let's go do a cinema swirl.
Okay.
All right. Bond, Sam, an initial, a gut, a reaction to a view to a kill.
Goals, scoring for England. That fatal kick is all we need. Goals, scoring for England. We will beat the other team.
Whoa.
My God, 10 out of 10. The best there's been, the best there ever will be. Oh, you mean the film?
Really?
You mean the film?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Bond, innit? It's just...
But the song was great, though, right?
Oh, my God. Yeah, what a song. What a tune. 5 star whites for that song. Wow.
Fixing the new with a Gru and minions. Fucking great. We open with a disclaimer just to let everyone know that Cinema Swirl bears no relation to any actual existing podcast or organization. That is.
No.
Did you have your disclaimer at the start?
Yeah, what's happened there? There must have been a Zorin that's been like, guys, come on, we're not evil.
Pretty much. There was a Zoran, not Zorin, Zoran, and they were like, oi. So you got at the top. Oi. There is a legal injunction, but in layman's terms, oi. That is basically what it is. It's standing across the room and bellowing that. I have this thing about disclaimers such as this, Sam, which is, it made me immediately pause the movie and go and Google, why is there a disclaimer at the start of this and not at the end? Because that's like kind of like par for the course. Oh,
yeah,
no resemblance to any real thing, work of fiction, yada yada. And when you do up top like this, it makes me pause the movie, go and Google why it's there, and then start Googling if there's anything wrong about the company that requested it in the first place. You're putting a laser sight on yourself by requesting that disclaimer.
There's the Streisand effect, isn't it? If you hadn't said anything at all, no one would be like, what's going on with Zoran?
I'll tell you what we do need a disclaimer for. We need a disclaimer for them bell-bottom trousers. This was the first time that the iconic Bond walk and turn and shoot was instead giving us a Bond kind of floated. Because you couldn't tell. Them heels were big, but he could have been swaying, he could have been floating, he could have had hoofs.
You can't tell that little bit where he's walking down is actually a catwalk, and he's showing off some cool fashion that he's got for the mid-80s.
Yeah, because I was going to say mid-80s.
Yeah.
Like, the bell-bottom trousers, that's a mid to late 70s innovation, or at least proliferation. Is he, like, kind of saying Bond is, even in olden times, Bond is nostalgic for slightly further back?
Yeah, he's retro cool, Bond, even back in the 80s. He's throwing it back a bit.
That's why in original Doctor No, Bond comes off with the hoop and a stick at the start, because he's like, oh, remember when your mum would put the kettle on and you'd have the hoop and stick.
The circles of him bouncing on a space hopper. Do you remember?
I saw a great one the other day on the Swinton Facebook group.
Yes.
Who remembers jamming bread? Oh, not me. Oh, I can't remember.
The red stuff that comes down is the jam being spread onto the bread like the old days.
It is.
That's what
it's very
that is.
warm and nostalgic, which is what you need, because we open on the ice planet Hoth, home to the nefarious Russians.
Yes.
And our man in Siberia, James, is digging up the corpse of 003 to get things. Bits and bobs. A locket featuring him and his lover, which is opened up and given a poignancy. If Bond is looking at a sentimental effect like that, and you show him open it up and look at both doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
He's doing the video game thing, kind of like rotating it in front of him.
A little bit of LA Noire effect to him.
He starts getting shot at, skis away.
Oh,
good stuff.
Oh, look, we've had our skis before.
Yeah.
And to the point where like you're giving us skis and it's like, oh, you're just doing skis again. It'd be like if they did a hovercraft and they're like, oh, you're just doing Die Another Day again, aren't you? The ski section here was very excellent because it had kind of a remix of the Her Majesty's Secret Service, but with
it's great. Yeah.
mid-80s power guitar. Don't let the bell bottoms fool you. This Bond has come to rock and roll.
He has. Very good music here. He transitions from 2-leg skiing to 1-foot skiing to snowmobile to snowboard.
It's very much a Mario Odyssey a sequence of events. James throws his hat on all sorts. Now, here was my question for you, Sam, and I got a bit hung up on this, and I think we may have gotten hung up on this before, but I need clarification.
Okay.
If I am chasing James Bond, or he is indeed being chased by me, and one of us or both of us are on skis, is that a vehicle chase? Are skis a vehicle?
We have been here before. I think
need to
we have been here before. Are shoes a vehicle by that logic? You know, it's not a powered vehicle.
If they have them wheels in them, wheelies are vehicles.
But then a bicycle's not powered, is it?
Look, all I'll say is this, is it probably is a logical strain to say something that you can use the phrase, a pair of is also a vehicle. A pair of skis.
Well, no, hold on.
A vehicle?
I drive to work in a pair of cars.
Look, I put my car on one wheel at a time like the next man, all right? I'm just trying to get some simple clarification here. Should I be skiing to work?
Well, some places have a ski to work scheme where you can get a steep discount on those skis, and there's ski parking.
Oh, all those bloody skeevers on that. I don't buy into that. It's woke nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
There's an apropos needle drop here. As he is snowboarding down a mountain, we get the California Girls by the Beach Boys.
I wish they all could be California girls. Well, if you don't go surfing, I don't wanna talk to you. Surfing, and surfing's very cool. I've never been surfing. R.I.P. The great Brian Wilson.
Yes.
I will say the sequence of events that led to him going from place to place in terms of vehicle to vehicle, needle drops, action that is like cut up so fast. This opening sequence felt like a Newgrounds Flash animation, Sam, from back in the day, where Bond would just like, bam, he's here, and bam, there's music playing. The animators haven't got time for this.
Yeah, that disclosure we got at the start was actually the loading screen, but it was disguised. It was a little, you could see at the bottom the thing sort of going up at the start. A helicopter blows up. Bond sneaks into, I think, a Union Jack submarine disguised as an iceberg. Is that what we're looking at?
This was tricky, right? Because Firstly, my mind was blown when he attacked a helicopter. Red smoke came out of it, and I was caught in this moment of, do helicopters bleed in the James Bond universe?
Oh.
Like, was this some sort of like a Russian who's like, make me a helicopter? I love the fucking USSR so much, I'll be a helicopter, and he's dying. But no, what I thought it was that Bond spied a tin of biscuits on the horizon, because that perfectly circular, gold-trimmed Union Jack, it looked like one of those nationalistic tin of shortbread you'd see in Marks.
Yes,
it does.
Yes.
This Mother's Day, remember Britain when you're eating biscuits.
It's what your mum would want. Not your mum, but a British mum.
No, my mum certainly would not like that. Although I'd give that to my mum to be like, tell me more about the great uncle who was in the IRA, and I'd give her one of those, like butter her up with buttered shortbread. But no, it is in fact a drivable iceberg.
Yes.
Now, we obviously have the ear of IO Interactive. We were very excited that the James Bond game was revealed properly. Between the pre and post reverse swirl over on our Patreon of Spectre. And look, there's vehicles in there.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put in the golden gun, I could say us View to a Kill heads want the drivable iceberg as a vehicle. Because it's half vehicle, half base. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know the way that like the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo looked like you could sleep in the back of it.
Yes, we
same
want
gimmick
that.
here, but there's no dog.
Day 2 patch. Get it in there, please. He's there with a lady. He's got caviar, Russian vodka, and a microchip.
Come on now, that's a night in.
Oh yeah.
Look, Sam. Every red-blooded man in America wants to fuck someone in an iceberg. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, bros, we gotta stop these icebergs melting. We're losing our chances. Our children's children won't be able to fuck in an iceberg like our fathers and our fathers' fathers.
I'm sort of I'm realising that when Bond comes back with caviar, vodka, and a microchip, it's like he's been sent out to do the shopping, but he's a rubbish husband. And they've got 5 days to survive, and he's like, well, I got caviar, vodka.
Yeah, I will say, by hour 4, the exclusive caviar and vodka diet might... What's the toilet situation in that floating iceberg? Because they're gonna be shitting pure black, like that's they're gonna be shooting out, like that's what's gonna be happening there. It's bad.
Does the iceberg have a pantry? These are the questions we need to know. IO Interactive, get it sorted. Are there pre-existing bits and bobs in there?
I think for something that has a functionality to raise part of the bed so Bond can go from being kind of laid back to like fully supine and prone. I don't think they were thinking about like I don't think the storage is great in there, for instance, Sam.
No.
You'd want a few blankets as well if you're in the fucking subarctic underwater. Like, come on.
From that, we transition to what, again, is an incredible song. Like a genuinely catchy, good, of its time, but also thoroughly enjoyable Bond song. It's brilliant.
Yes, unzip the North Face because it's time for some sexy Bond intro action.
Yes, the title sequence does take place in sexy Laser Quest.
Quasar, it's Quasar.
Well, all right.
Hey, man, look at this Protestant Quasar over here. Ooh, Laser Quest.
Golly, let's go down to the Laser Quest.
Come on.
Sexy Quasar, then. Sexy Quasar.
Quasar, when age 8, I went to a boy's birthday party at Quasar.
Yeah.
And one of the men who was running the Quasar pulled me aside and asked me to stop screaming that I was in a Vietnam flashback. and I blame my father, who greatly exaggerated his 6 weeks of territorial army training in Ireland. That was not part of the theatre of war of Vietnam, and you know it, Dad.
I'd hoped you were going to say that he pulled you to one side and said, "Oi, no professionals, mate."
Or be like, "I'm okay." He pulls me aside. I'm putting together a team of, and that's how I became a mercenary.
Yes, good title sequence.
Dark Light gimmick probably felt like it was more jazzy in '85. Here it feels like, look, did you know you could do a cool Bond intro for only 20 quid? Because pop down to Claire's Accessories. You can get most of the kit you need for this.
It's better than the Spectre one.
Yeah, definitely better.
Yeah.
And Spectre had a load-bearing octopus to help it out there. So this was better. I loved how he kind of popped up and did a little shoot here and there. Like there'd be people, he'd be like, he was proper, like, again, to invoke Flash animation.
Yeah.
But a good, overthought website back in the 1999, 2001 period.
Yes.
You might click on terms and services and a little man might come out. What's Dexter doing there? I wanted to find out about the terms of the contest. Also, there was a point where he shot at the screen and circles came out. Good. That was great.
Yeah.
They made this very old Roger Moore look cool in this sequence.
Yes, and he is very old in this. I'm not sure how actually old he is. He's probably like 50 or something, but he seems...
How old?
Was Roger Moore.
How old? Just gonna have to check this out right now,
Check
folks.
it out.
Now also, Sam, we need to realise, as I type away here,
Yeah.
Roger Moore is one of those classic Hollywood dames who might have lied about his age,
Yes.
which has proved to be a most confounding factor for all generative AIs and Googles.
Him and the comedian Russell Kane. Sorry, go on.
57?
57?
57?
During this film? Jesus Christ. Okay.
Now that could be the people like me, cynics who are course correcting that and trying to make it seem like a lot more old than 57?
57. Good Lord.
Did you figure out the significance, as teased in the pre-swirl and or private correspondence encrypted end to end, about the sunglass emoji man that I sent you?
No, I didn't. Should I have done?
I thought you would have picked up in the early scenes here because it is most notable and jarring. The incredibly intense, wide-eyed, dare I say, death-like stare of Roger Moore, who allegedly had very recently had a quote-unquote eye job before this one.
Oh, I know, I didn't really notice.
The sunglasses were to show that that's him being picked up by, I'm assuming, Timothy Dalton from the hospital because he wouldn't be allowed to go home on his own. And he has to take 2 sleeping tablets and then wake up in the morning with his special goggles.
That's a lot to communicate with a single emoji. I thought there were going to be X-ray specs. There is a sunglasses bit later on, and I was disappointed at how boring it was.
That was the first thing they did because his eyes hadn't grown back yet at that point. So when you get the new ones in, it takes a while for them to take. You don't want the body to reject the eyes. It's a painful process.
57, Kevin.
57. Well, look, if he can do Bond at 57, I can podcast at 57.
Yeah.
That made me feel very good about myself.
Yes. In London, Q has got a little pet robot thing, which is fun.
Happy birthday, James Bond. It was a very strange little robot.
Yes.
I feel it's now become apparent through our various endeavours here on Swirl and Swill that the mid to late 80s appearance of a robot in a franchise is usually it's a canary in a coal mine of sorts. For the tone of your property.
Was someone in every fucking writer's room or boardroom, whatever, just like you got to put a cute robot in there? Like we have to.
He was a cutie pie.
Yeah,
Sam.
it was a cute robot.
Despite the robot being a noted voyeur, as proven later in the movie,
yes.
I thought he was a cutie pie. You know, get out of there, you
little scam.
Looking at me. You look at me naked. Like, never mind the new fucking gadgets and gizmos and robots. Moneypenny has a new hat.
Yes, which is nice. I mean, it's a very quip-heavy James Bond, but I feel like Roger Moore's not really always selling them as much as he might have done in the past.
For a man who is... Like, he's the dichotomy of Moore here, Sam, because he's
I
a man...
can't get over 57.
But the dichotomy of the man who is clearly like, you can't get rid of me, I'm Bond.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, if you're 57 and doing it, that is simply, I'm sorry. You give off that energy of, I need to still be Bond. Like, part of me to be Roger Moore. So he has that, but at the same time as well, vis-a-vis the delivery of the quips is so half-arsed.
Yeah.
So much of what he does is half-arsed. He's both desperate to be there, but also totally over it and kind of one eye, the new eye he had put in on the watch, on the clock, to see when he's out the door.
So there's lines like, "I'll fill you in later, Moneypenny," that I think were meant to be like wink at the camera, oh, steady on, but he just...
There's so many of them, and they're so fast, and he does them not when like he kills someone, he does them when like someone holds open a door for him or something like that as well. You know, he's fully loaded, ready to go here. Now, we're all aware of the phenomenon of the microchip queue.
Yes, delicious.
And this is when modern 2025 Kevin started snorting at this movie. When James Bond said, of course, even the modern toasters have microchips nowadays. And I was like, toasters, microchips, Bond, seriously? And that led to a very fun 20-minute diversion as I found out about a thing developed in the 80s called microchip-controlled browning technology, which was used... That's how we got the...
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I understand toasters less now.
Yeah, I don't get them, but my God, I'm thankful.
An EMP, you wouldn't be having no toast the day after is all I'll be saying.
So yeah, these microchips are impervious to magnetic pulse damage.
You know, when
it's microchip stuff.
Yeah. It's like when someone mentions the internet in 1995. It's like what seems cool and new then. It's so mundane.
Yes.
Like this is Bolivian water crisis levels of mundane. They're talking about people hoarding precious metals and semiconductors and microchips for processors. That's just what's happening now. That's just now. That's not escapism. I have escaped, and like Patrick McGowan in The Prisoner, I have awoken exactly where I began. That's not fair. There's a spy joke for you Bond heads out there.
Much appreciated. Hey, we've got some cool cast here, my God, as our main villain and villain sidekick. And sidekick is selling us short massively. Sorry. Zorin. There's a company called Zorin.
Not Zorin.
Not Zorin. Not related to any... Well, I'll put some caveats.
A disclaimer at the start of the post-swirl, thank you, that Zorin is... I don't want anyone to think that we're reviewing Don't Mess with the Zohan from Adam Sandler. That's not what we're doing. It's a fictional company from Max Zorin here.
Yes.
We are informed, despite being portrayed by Christopher Walken, that this man has no accent. No accent at all, Mr. Bond. As a result of my extremely unique upbringing, my accent has simply disappeared.
Wow. Christopher Walken as Max Zorin and Grace Jones as Mayday. What a sexy couple of people. Jesus Christ.
What's Miss Jones known for then?
Well,
she do music.
So, you know, singer-songwriter, model, all-around powerhouse.
Yeah, activist, power player, power broker.
These are proper like Bond
supervillains.
Yeah. They look cool and scary.
Setting it at the races.
Yeah, so
that's a British thing, isn't it? You love horses, you eat as many as you can.
We do. It's a bit of a weird place to start with. Essentially, he's got a very successful horse, and he's got a whole horse industry.
Yeah, it's like they know in the 80s, microchips mightn't grab or bread and butter old school fans. So they're like, and they're messing with horses as well. the progeny, the lineage, the bloodlines, they don't match up. I'm like, well, never mind your fucking microchip controlled browning technology.
Yeah.
Britain is on the line here. You can't let those nyucks from Galway get the drop on you now, can you?
So on the back of this, Bond goes to meet... I don't want to say it, but Mr. Aubergine in Paris.
No. That's Monsieur Aubergine.
Sorry, Monsieur Aubergine.
Mr. Eggplant is
my father.
My father is Mr. Eggplant. So yes, we're in Paris, the home of France, and in the Eiffel Tower, the seat of political power in all of Paris, France.
Yeah.
And he's meeting his, if we thought it was bad, Inspector, at least, Inspector, it wasn't expected. Here it is to be expected, I guess, that it's like, right, Bond, go here, meet the man with the silly name. He will give you one little bit of intel to move on to the next bit. And he literally sits down and talks to this guy for 30 seconds before he's murdered.
Yes, and he is murdered in a very interesting way by, I think, a sort of prop butterfly on a fishing rod, which, it was part of a dancing show.
In the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower. But That does lead to James Bond versus Mayday, Grace Jones, a chase up the Eiffel Tower.
Now, I thought it was very disrespectful and very unloving behaviour of Bond. When he made a quip about Mr. Eggplant when he dies, it's like, that's your peer. He was giving you intel. He's like your mate. He's a professional acquaintance. If you killed him, fair.
Yeah.
But someone else has just murdered this man.
You don't get to do the quip.
And then you're like, oh, I think he got the point. Like, yeah. And you're a British Secret Service agent and you let it happen. On his fucking country's home turf here now. Come on. I just think, if I was writing up a police report, Sam, and they're like, was there anyone suspicious after beloved Central Intelligence Officer Mr. Aubergine passed away? I go, well, there was a British man who gave a fake name, and as he left, he said, I think he got the point. And we did notice later on that he had been killed by a pointed object. You're suspect number one. You're in the middle of my cork board. Dare I say, a half dozen red lines coming off of him as well.
That's why criminals don't really quip anymore. Well, murderers in general. Because, it's so easily detectable these days.
It is. It's very easy with technology and special effects as well.
So up we go up the Eiffel Tower. Mayday dives off, which looks extremely cool.
Very cool. Did you notice how Roger Moore had really lost a step while they... Like, that's how you know when it's like, all right, they're done. Like, going up and up a bunch of stairs.
That's
like,
cruel to make a 57-year-old man go
It is. It's how they got Joe Biden as well. It's like, you could have gotten rid of the stairs in his way and you put loads. Does he need to go up so high on the airplane? Strap him to the bottom.
Yes.
Check him like luggage. Instead, you've got like a stunt double for when he goes around a corner. It's ridiculous. I tell you, a great time in this movie, folks, is there's two things. One, my friend Alex sent me a message where he said he saw this at a party once where they had a drinking game where every time you saw the Zorin logo, you had to take a drink. Very good. Secondly, anytime there's even the mildest of action, as in the type of action that might make Roger Moore's hair go like askew very slightly, the stunt double's in there. Yeah. It's very noticeable. And sometimes it's like kind of a Wurzel Gummidge stuffed dummy that they put in his place. And I think they were cutting him out there and putting in the stunt doubles as a laugh at some point. There's so much... He's barely in this movie. As well as being, Roger Moore's last hurrah, if you're a stunt double who looks loads like Roger Moore, or enough like Roger Moore that you get all the Bond work, this is your last hurrah too. So I mean, they're not going to be stuntmen that old, are there? Like, Jesus. Like, there's an upper limit on your age, right?
Comes to him being 25 every time.
And that's how slowly, because of the hubris and the arrogance, the vanity of Roger Moore, he'd be like, oh, include more shots of that young man who looks a lot more like me. And then before you know it, you've done a reverse substance on yourself and you've not even injected anything.
So he's now chasing after Mayday, who has parachuted down to the ground. He's chasing after her.
This was great.
In a stolen taxi, but the top of the car gets sort of shaved off. The back of the car gets shaved off. So he's driving around.
Come on.
Just the front wheels and the back sort of scraping against the roads. It's good stuff.
So I think by the end we can define that it was not a vehicle that he was in. It lost its vehicular kind of classification the further along we went. Shout out Big Love. Shout out James Bond pulling European men out of cars. Or making them go, whoa. And this guy, he comes over to me, he's like, follow that parachute. And before the guy can even say anything, he's just like, hey, you crazy English. And he's out, and he goes, oh, my car.
So when he's saying all that and it's still like playing, the car's gone. Like the car's so far away and you still get like audio of this guy like, oh, my car, oh, crazy English.
Big love for the taxi driver when you approach him at the stand is having a glass of wine.
We're in France. That's the joke.
It's good luck to drink wine. Yeah, but I thought that at this point, this proved the modular nature of cars, though. They come apart easily in that manner. I think it was meant to. He enters into a wedding boat party.
He falls through the roof onto the cake.
And I do mean fall through. They literally put a tuxedo on a sandbag and drop it through the roof of that thing.
He does say, congratulations, and then is off on his way. I think that would be a fun thing to have at a wedding, like a Bond impersonator just fall onto the cake. If you can't afford a good cake, like an actual cake, get a fake cake and have a Bond impersonator fall on it and run off. And then I'm like, oh,
it's very reductive to have a babe come out of a cake.
Yeah.
But to have a hunk fall onto a cake.
In 2025? Yes, please. So, Bond has to go to the thoroughbred sale.
This is the closest that James Bond ever gets to going to the cattle mart in Delta.
Yes, it's close.
It's so beyond the point right now. He has caused millions in damage. The men are died, all this, and it's because they think this guy might be cheating at horses.
Yeah,
that's Jeffra's problem, not yours, Bond.
Bond shouldn't be chasing after this, but he's shown to his room. I mean, there's pretty ladies everywhere in this, and Bond at 57 years of age is sort of doing all of his sort of he's doing all that.
Is it meant to be if you're someone like James Bond, the older you get, the more randy you get, so it seems like there's babes everywhere. Is that it? Because there are so many Bond girls with all of them have great names in this movie. At the end, there's towards the end, there's a Japanese girl just kind of joins the entourage, and she's got kind of a cool kind of geisha modern outfit.
Who are you?
We meet Jenny Flax.
Jenny Flax.
What a great name.
Yeah.
What's her deal? She rides horses, does some jobs for Mr. Zorian. That's kind of about it, really.
Yeah.
That's it, With a name like Jenny Flax, that feels like she should be a much bigger deal.
I thought when she introduced herself as Jenny Flax, she was going to sort of kick him in the head over her own head. Do some sort of acrobatic moves, but there's none of that.
So we have Stacy, Mayday, Jenny Flex, the Japanese girl. That's a lot of Bond girls.
Yeah.
Not bad.
No.
Considering that two of them look very similar as well. Not bad.
And Bond's got his little mate during this bit, Tibbet.
I don't think Bond should have a little mate like this.
But he needs to have someone who he gets on with and is nice to, for that person to then be killed, so that Bond can be but not killing off a main character. We always get a little guy.
Honestly,
who's his mate.
Bond's relief when his friend gets killed is palpable. He's like,
finally, I don't have to talk to that guy.
Thank God.
But it's
stretch out tonight,
his mate's pretending to be his sort of, I don't know, chauffeur, general.
Yes, his man of wheels.
Yes.
I think is how you would refer to them.
But those two are sweeping the room for bugs while maintaining the kayfabe of, a posh guy and his little servant man helping him out.
He's simply Mr. St. John Smith. Kind of obsessed with that. I heard it recently, the name St. John being St. John.
Yeah.
Is that a really southern thing or something like that?
I think it's a sort of posh British thing, I think. I'm not sure.
Boy, is it?
Yeah, St. John.
Can you have that as a first name? St. John Smith or whatever?
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And they really lay it on thick. Everyone comes up to him and is oh, Mr. St. John Smythe. No, it's St. John Smythe. They really want to.
St. John Smith. James St. John Smith. I mean Bond. I mean St. John Smith.
They do it like it means something or is important, and it's not.
Well, this was the first Bond that premiered in America and not in England. And yet, there's moments where you think, oh, it is definitely a more Americanized Bond in some ways.
Yeah.
And I think the closest that we really get to that is the fact that so much of the British culture is kind of British people go to horse races. They have funny names like St. John Smith and whatnot. They hate the French, that type of a thing, Yeah.
Kevin, the sunglasses appear. They're literally just a little filter thing that you would put on a DSLR camera. It just filters out the reflections a bit, which is quite nice, so he can see what's going on through a window.
Did they have zoom on them?
Well, no, he's got a sort of dial that to me just sort of stopped the window from reflecting, so he could see into it. That's quite low rent technology, isn't it?
It's not great. Is that what happens when how many millions do you think they pushed up the national debt with Q's fucking robot that he was obsessed with? Just because he wants to look at girls.
I also think if you had glasses that had zoom in them, but they're attached to your face and you're walking around, you'd feel sick immediately, right?
Look, let's be honest, Sam. You and I are full-time glasses wearers. I've been since I was, I think, 4 years old.
Okay.
You have been since you were...
Since my teens, I would say, full-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've got at least a 20-year...
Yeah.
Are we going to go into smart glasses, you and I? Are we going to have, Because, if anyone's going to, it's going to be us, the people who have it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to be putting, Flappy Bird on our eyes?
I feel like it should have happened, Binu, but it hasn't.
Now, I know that you can get special Meta Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
And watch this, when you put them on, you get to hear children screaming racial obscenities at you.
Yeah. Which Which is what Zuckerberg wants.
I'm all about free speech, man. You know?
Yeah.
You know? I should have been wearing my chain for this one. Fuck. Anyway.
Maybe one day we'll have smart glasses. Maybe one day, Kevin, we'll be recording this podcast with the glasses, with the microphone that's in our glasses, and we won't even need a computer.
We're going to be talking through our eyes, man. Imagine that.
The glasses will be the processor. The lenses will be the graphics card.
And the lenses, they're made from glass.
Yeah.
And that's just common sense, Mr. Bond. I'll tell you what, right?
Yeah.
When he is meeting the inner circle and he's got his special camera on that was classic old school Bond.
Yeah.
The ring camera, which means something different now, I guess.
Yes.
You wouldn't get away with that now, where it's like, yes, Mr. Bond, this is my gentleman I have who's in charge of my international affairs in the petroleum industry. Oh, really? Glung, bang, glung. Glung, glung, glung. Sorry, I have to give someone £15 now. Wait a second.
Kevin, I think nowadays Q would just order his gadgets off of Amazon and pay a subscription service. We'd be like, Bond, I've got a ring camera, but you're going to have to pay the... Can we sign up on your credit card, Bond?
Did you hear what they did with the ring cameras recently?
No, I don't. What have they done now?
There was apparently some clause in the ring cameras where it's like, unless you opted out, they were basically saying Amazon can use the footage in your cameras.
Right.
And they've released like a show. It's like a 15-minute like wacky bloopers.
Oh.
And it's just the funniest stuff from people's ring doorbells. Like, you know, dogs chasing people and stuff like that.
Look, I think we've all signed all sorts of terms and conditions that are like, you know, in order to use this product, we can take pictures of you willy and you don't mind, and then that's going to come back to bite us later.
You do not like to see them Cinema Swirl terms and conditions. I thought they were bad for me and Sam. They fucking stink for you.
You have signed up to some really dodgy stuff. Yeah, take a look.
I mean, when you hear what this guy's got to say about a paywall, oh, fucking come on.
I do like how kind of quaint and old-fashioned the technology is. Like, there's a...
Yeah.
He needs to see who was last written a check in a checkbook, and he's just got a little device that just sort of, I think, just like presses it, and you know when you like,
yeah, it's nice. Old school. That's that's something Lebowski did, but it's actual spycraft, which I appreciate.
Tangible,
you know,
tangible. You can hold it in your hands.
Look, it was just nice to go back to a pre-Smart Blood era of Bond.
Yeah, yes.
Because when Bond has the Smart Blood, it's a different atmosphere, I think, entirely.
Yeah,
you know? And I tell you what atmosphere I loved when he meets Stacy for the first time and they played the flute version of A View to a Kill. Whoa, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Can I say that we've been playing Mario Kart World? Can I say it?
I hold my hands up.
Yeah.
Because I've been gaming under the table the whole time. Oh, that sounds nasty, actually.
No, don't be gaming under the table. The slight variations on music you're familiar with in a different instrumentation or style is very nice, and we've been in the mood for that. So to get some of that here.
Good job. Good job.
Nice.
I hope that I.O. Bond game uses all the different bits of Bond music at iconic, important moments, because it's pretty much all great as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
And yes, don't worry, we have secret compartments to secret bases. Turns out this horse shed is a horse lift to a secret zone.
Can I just say that Stacey not immediately being like, "You're so sexy, Mr. Bond, I want to be with you," makes him suspicious and be like, what's
her deal?
What's her deal? You're 57 is what her deal is.
It's like, I'm either going to like kill her or really have sex with her later. That's what's going through Bond's head, like, you know? Only one of those two things.
But down into the secret lab they go.
Which was notable because Bond was wearing the same tracksuit that Tony Soprano does when he works out, like.
Yes.
That's good. Bond shouldn't wear a tracksuit, should he?
No, I think he should. Yeah.
Yeah? What, a Juicy Couture? I think he could pull that off?
Yes, if he needed to. He's left a tape recording of him snoring in the room to throw off the spy microphones and stuff. That's old school.
We were like an hour in, and James Bond picks up a vial, turns to his friend and says, "This horse has had surgery." And I was like, what's that? Like, I remember there being something about Silicon Valley and like computers in this movie, and like here he's like, "What's going on? This horse has had surgery." Like,
you know, Frontier Psychiatrist by the Avalanches. That's a line that you could slip into.
This horse has had surgery. Frontier psychiatrist.
There's adrenaline administering microchips for horses, I think. Or it unlocks the adrenaline, it creates adrenaline. Horse microchip.
It's a smart blood for horses, is what we're saying. So.
It kind of is. It's kind of
smart horses are the future.
Yeah, smart horse.
You still riding around on that old thing?
Which is why when I ate that lasagna about 15 years ago, I got so clever. Because,
smart. And look, I was very fortunate to see what I decreed at the time, and still feel a week later, the best Bond fight ever as Daniel Craig's James Bond took on the animal Dave Bautista's guy he played in that movie, who I just called Bautista.
Yes.
I think seeing this fight afterwards may make me think this is the worst fight in the history of Bond.
No.
Like, they don't even pull their punches. They cut before they even punch, and then it's go, and then someone's like, they get put in boxes, which is shit. No one dies.
Imagine the amount of insurance on Roger Moore at this point in time. Like, if he moves too quickly, like, something could go horribly wrong.
Maybe that's what he was hoping, Sam. I have a sizable Lloyd's of London insurance policy, you see, which says that in the event of my unlikely retirement, I would be facilitated with a lot of champagne and quite a lot of pounds sterling as well, subject to market approval, of course.
They don't even properly put the baddies in the boxes. Like, they just get like a top of a box slapped on top of a bit of sellotape round them, and then on they go.
What?
It's a bit Chicken Run. It's got a Chicken Run.
No, because in Chicken Run it's full of satisfying bits where it's like the guy in the box with the wrap, and then it's like, I felt like if I'm in the post office, I see someone with a really badly wrapped parcel. That's how I felt. And that's why I felt this was the worst Bond fight, because I felt like I was bored in a queue at the post office.
Yeah.
And that's not how I should feel when fisticuffs are flying.
I've had stuff delivered off eBay that looks like this henchman in the box. You know, when it's like, you sort of wrapped it. You can get a sticker.
Fucking, I ordered a bag of chickpea flour and 2 mangoes a couple of years ago, and someone had ripped into the box and just ripped through the flour bag. So I had to like kind of unearth them out and de-dust them and all that. And that's just common sand they were in.
It's just common sense. It's just common sand. I thought you were saying sand. And that's just common sense.
And that's just common sense. Well, that's why I never order flowers off the internet anymore.
Yeah. And that's just common sense.
And that's just common sense.
Little snippets of Mayday and Zorin doing martial arts training together, with Mayday in a very...
They're sparring, Sam.
They're sparring. There's a revealing outfit. I thought there was a great chemistry between those two as like a kind of power couple.
Doesn't develop much.
No.
A lot of it's kind of unsaid and unseen or whatever.
Yeah.
But they are both really good at it.
Yeah,
they elevate the material that they've been given for sure.
Yes, they're both having fun up there. You know?
Yeah, and in a movie where there's a 57-year-old man going around being like, "Can I kiss you?" Oh, don't worry, my dear, I'll remove my dentures. It's nice to have a genuinely sexy scene in Bond.
Yes.
You know?
It's followed up not long after by Mayday trying to find Bond, sneaks in, has sex with him, while Zorin's like, go on, do it, have sex with that old man. I'm kind of into that. There's a bit of a, you know.
This sequence was very strange, because it went 1 second from Bond to be like, I have to get out of here. And he's running around everywhere, jumping over bridges, trying to hop gates and whatnot. And because of the way it was shot, it really looked like he was like, caught his pants down with the traitors or something like that. Yeah. And then he's like, actually, counter to me running away, I'm going to go back inside. Because the closer I am to danger, the further I am from harm.
Yeah.
And he pops into bed, and then they have sex, and she kind of jumps on top of him straight away. The aggressive sexual prowess like you saw in the sparring.
Yeah.
And I had to rewind this, Sam. He rolled his eyes when she started kissing him, and he's like,
women, eh?
Dude, you're 57 having sex with an actual supermodel.
Yeah.
Like,
come on.
There's no
Don't roll your
way.
fucking eyes.
Don't roll your fucking eyes. And I know it could be a side effect of the surgery. They spin around to settle in place.
He had no idea what his eyes were doing at that point in time, Kevin.
They were it's like testicular torsion. They need to just let them settle, return to place. They might move, don't touch. Eyes.
His eyes were returning to their original location. He wasn't rolling his eyes.
And that, dear, I wasn't rolling my eyes, dear. It was the expensive eye job I had done. I did it for you.
I love how. I love how computer focused this film is, because we've got a meeting between Zorin and Mr. St. John Smythe.
Yeah, who, like, 1 second they were like, get him, and he was like, I gotta get out of here, and now it's time for a sit-down meeting where we will discuss these matters like gentlemen over a computer.
Zorin's on his computer, and he's getting information about Bond, but ostensibly talking about horses and stuff, but he's getting all the details coming through, including some great sort of pixel art looking shit of Bond.
Oh, the power play, because you see how, like, kind of unnerved Bond was. It's called a JPEG, Mr. Bond. It's the future of imagery. Your art galleries, your collections will mean nothing when people see the precursor to my NFTs.
Mr. St. John GIF? It's actually pronounced St. John GIF.
I love computers, Mr. Bond. They can tell me so much and so many things. For instance, by consulting with Grok here, I know that you are a member of the Secret Service, and there's a white genocide going on in South Africa that surely would want your attention more than me and my simple affairs of horse racing.
I want to let Kevin just do the accent for as long as possible.
Look. I'll tell you this. I've spent a long time quoting this movie incorrectly with friends.
Okay, yeah.
The phrase, that's just common sand. You don't want to go to the beach with me because I'll just say that. Did you catch the name of the horse that Zorin is planning to sell him?
No, I can't remember it. What was it?
The horse is called Inferno. Inferno! That's what you call a robot in Robot Wars. That is a great name.
Yeah. Dance.
Or a gladiator in Gladiators.
Dance into the fire. Yeah, see, it all sort of works. The horse is called.
It does, doesn't it?
He goes outside and sees Tibbet sort of doing stuff in the car, sort of bent over the car. His little mate. And Bond's got a riding crop in his hand. He cheekily spanks his friend's thumb and goes, oh. I'm like, that's good stuff, actually.
Good stuff. That's playful locker room banter is what's going on.
And that's the last interaction those two had before Tibbet dies.
Yeah, pretty much, you know. He went out on top, goes to get the car washed, gets killed.
Yes,
you know,
in an automatic car wash.
The indignity of being killed and then kept in the car afterwards. So I wasn't sure if he was dead or if he'd just been thoroughly knocked out. Yeah. Alas. So Bond then is given basically one of those early quests in a game like The Witcher 3 where you have to like do a horse race to learn the mechanics. And if he wins the race, he gets to keep Inferno. And if he loses the race, you lose, Mr. Barnes.
But the race is rigged because they've got little buttons putting the hurdles up and down.
Would you watch horse racing if it had traps like this?
Yeah,
I would.
Yeah.
It's great. And also, there was all the kind of like, all these ads were like, and he's like, who are these? Oh, those are my exercise boys, Mr. Barnes. So much more fun when there are grunts grasping at you as you ride your horse. And it was probably my favorite scene in the movie, this.
Kevin.
It was so silly.
If I was a video game developer, I'd be watching this and thinking there's an asymmetrical multiplayer opportunity. One person is riding the horse, the other is manipulating the track to try and trip them up. So,
you can unleash more exercise boys.
Free idea.
And the special move, Max has a make the horse go crazy button on his stick.
Yes.
And that makes Bond's horse go crazy.
It does. It works.
It's really good. Fuck, imagine if that was the thing in Mario Kart, that there's an item you could use that would make someone else just like drive around in the wrong.
Oh yeah, their car just go bananas. Yeah. Sorry, not the banana peel, but just their car goes crazy.
No thanks.
Bond sort of loses. He gets captured. He discovers that Tibbet's dead. They've captured him. They've knocked him out in the back of the car.
It was good because Mayday, who had done the murder, she also put the hat on, which shows that while she is a deadly force, she enjoys a joke as much as the rest of her friends.
She does.
And like, because Bond's like, and is he eyes down?
You guys.
Mayday.
What do you like? So he's in the back of the car, getting pushed into a lake.
That's got to be the most lo-fi Bond death trap we've ever had.
Yeah.
Right?
But I quite like it.
They're trying to kill him like that most people kill their children, like, you know, who do that type of thing. It's like, just push him in the lake. Don't you want to, like, put sharks in there? Or you could shoot him.
I don't think they even put the seatbelt on him to, like, mildly inconvenience his escape attempt. Like, it's just, off he goes.
Sam, I'm gonna call it like I see it. They didn't want to kill Bond, they wanted to kill the car.
Yeah, that's true. I like that he uses the air in the tyres to breathe. I don't think that would work, but it looks cool.
I had a long time trying to figure this one out.
Yeah.
Because I had it told to me from one source that it could be possible, albeit inefficient. You might probably, because of the displacement of the water, end up inhaling water at the same time.
Right.
And then someone else told me, oh no, the pressure difference from the air in the tyre to what you need in your lungs, you might as well not bother at all. Either way, Bond did it anyway.
Worth a go, I would say.
I mean, if I was dying, I'd be like, oh, I don't want anyone to know I can't change a tyre, so I would just die. And, like, you know, that would be that, like, you know? So, but I'm not Bond.
What's Zorin's relationship with the KGB? Because they have a sort of meeting with him.
So he was originally a KGB agent who was implanted as kind of like a covert industrial espionage type of an agent.
Yep.
But he's kind of out, by being positioned so well and funded so well by them, he's now kind of outgrown them. He's got his own industry. Okay. And they're like, yeah, all that stuff you do with like microchips and horses, man, that's not what the KGB is all about. And I'm like, that's what Max Zorin is exclusively about.
Yeah.
This is a conscientious uncoupling right here.
Yeah.
Did you notice how the KGB and the Russians, now in 85, it's like, they're not so bad.
Yeah, they sort of seem quite chill.
Yeah, they're like chill and slightly less competent, but not a danger or mysterious at all.
No. So we cut then to big investor meeting in a blimp. It's in a blimp.
That's good.
And if anyone kicks up a fuss about it, the plan is to destroy Silicon Valley so that... Is he revealing that plan now? No.
Yes.
Yes.
So, he hasn't said what the means to do it.
Yes. He's going to destroy Silicon Valley to have a monopoly on
their cartel the terms of the cartel are very awful because they have to give half their money to Zorin and like $100 million each. So one guy's like, I'm out. And Duncan Bannatyne gets jettisoned from the blimp as a result. Which, in fairness, if you set dragons down on a blimp, Sam, way higher stakes, way more eyes.
Literally higher stakes. Like, they're in the air. If you fuck up, you're dumped out of a blimp.
Do you have any idea what Deborah Meaden will do at a high altitude? She's like, no inhibitions. She fucking say anything, man. It's crazy. I do think the gunshine investor being thrown out of the blimp.
Yep.
That was a good time.
Good death.
That meant he was officially jettisoned because he was jettisoned from the ship.
Yeah.
If he had fallen off on his own accord, he would be flotsam because he was floating. That's the distinction there.
Zorin gets to do a little quip. Does anyone else want to drop out? Because they've been dropped out.
Oh, the view from up here is almost like a view to a kill. Oh.
we get the name of the film. Still doesn't make much sense to me personally.
Yeah, no, because what happens? Mayday. Leslie, she goes, "Wow, what a view!" And then he goes, "To a kill." What? No, it makes less sense the more we say it. And I would have thought the movie would have recognized that and not said it at all. Like,
no, they're doubling down and be like, "Look, it's a normal thing that people would say."
Wow, Bond, look at that. Yes, it certainly is a quantum of solace. Bullshit.
So Bond meets with the CIA agents.
Yes, our man in San Fran.
Yes, and they...
Chuck Lee,
and they talk about Zorin. Is he a sort of Nazi Frankenstein steroids man? Is that who Zorin is? He's a medical marvel, evil experiment man.
Hence why I have no accents, because of my unique progeny.
But what is the benefit of that to him as a supervillain? Because he doesn't show, like...
Doesn't do much with it,
extra strength or stamina or anything.
Yeah, no, Mayday, she's got it coming out her ears, you know? Yeah. But
she's strong as hell.
He's fairly keeping the cards close to the vest in terms of the Ubermensch type of stuff going on there. Yeah. But look, there was nothing I could say but big side quest energy when a fisherman came up to James Bond. He was like... And don't get me wrong, I like Max Zorin, but he's ruining the crap in here for all of us in San Francisco because of his pipelines. There are 3 of them across the map, Bond. You have to take them all down.
Okay. And then off he goes, swimming down. Yeah, Bond now on his little side quest swims down to a Zorin oil rig thing. They turn up the intake fan to try and blend him up. Again, a bit of a sort of Flash cartoon style death there.
Very much
yeah,
so.
yeah. But
Look, Sam, I'll tell you what it is. He's doing all sorts here, but Zorin's gimmicks are diffuse. He's got too many little bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Any one of them, I think, could have been a central defining figure. Him just being Christopher Walken would have been fine.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think they've given him a bit too much.
They
a bit
have.
too much.
So as well as Bond heading down there, there's also KGB agents.
Oh, shit, I forgot there's another Bond girl. There's a fifth one.
Yeah. Paula Ivanova.
Pauline Vanova, that was it. And this was hilarious because you see her, she gets the secret recording of Max revealing his big plan.
Yep.
And you see her coming out of her frog suit, ha ha ha, one up. And then James captures her, which leads to them having an evening together.
Yes.
And if ever the worldwide standing of Russia as an international power was apparent to have been waning, this scene here where she's like, I'm a silly Russian idiot.
Yeah.
Duh. And he's like, you like chess and vodka and shit, don't you? Yes, James. Duh.
Right. They're in a hot tub and James gets out to go and put some music on. And the bubbles also turn on. And she says, The bubbles tickle my Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, very good.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's so weird and laboured and odd as a thing. But it's said that they've had.
Look, people called their parts all sorts of things.
Oh,
so who are we
yeah.
to say, you know.
But they've had a sort of pre-existing colleague relationship where they've done stuff before them too. They've met up in the past and
I should say as well, there was a babe at the start, wasn't there? There was another Bond girl who he met with in the iceberg. 6 Bond ladies, excuse me, and he's had sex with 3 of them now by my count.
I will do one more Bond film provided this.
Exactly.
6 ladies.
He wants a 10 years worth of shagging in this last movie. And in fairness, like compared to Craig, we're up to Spectre now, and he's roughly a 1 to 2 per. His body count is what I shouldn't call it a body count.
That's insulting to murderers.
In fairness, he does kill a lot of them afterwards as well. It's like in this movie, he's nearly got a Craig rap sheet.
If there's one person where the term body count is appropriate, it's probably
it's Bond. How many notches on your tombstone have you got, Bond? I just love to kill them.
But
I keep getting older and they keep staying the same age because once you die, you don't age, you simply decompose, my dear.
She had made those recordings, but Bond has sneakily swapped the tapes to nice Japanese spa music. And then that's kind of the end of her bit.
I would say that was a comedy boing to indicate she'd made a mistake.
Yes.
I'm not wrongly characterizing beautiful Japanese flute music.
Boing.
And say that boing. That's insensitive.
The woman who sort of didn't immediately have sex with Bond earlier, and he was confused, Stacey. He sneaks into her house. She's got a gun, but then before they kick off, I think Zorin's men are there to...
His goons.
The goons are here to have a big fight.
The goons are here. What they don't really tell you is that Bond has, I think, at this point figured out that she's the Sutton from the check that was written.
Yeah.
But not cashed. So either this lady's in bed with him, or there's a lot of unpaid for horses knocking around this estate that you might want to check. Like, at this point, let's be honest, the equestrian arc was kind of withering on the vine a little bit here. We weren't going to deal with much more in terms of the horse racing. But she reveals that this gun that she has is actually a rock salt shotgun, which I was a bit annoyed about because obviously I wanted Bond to kill a lot of people and to have loads of heads blow up and stuff. But because it was rock salt, it meant that he shot it way more. Yeah. And they sold it the same way as if they would have been shot for real in a Bond movie. So he's like, it's great.
A rock salt shotgun sounds like a cocktail, doesn't it? That would be, Get yourself a rock salt shotgun.
Oh, look, I don't know what's in it, but I can tell you already it's my wife's new favourite cocktail. Good Lord. A rock salt shotgun coming soon.
Tell you what, for Stacey, who is apparently just the daughter of a oil magnate.
Oh, you take that back. She's a geologist.
So yes, yes, but I mean, she can kick some ass. I mean, she
got a degree in Earth and Ocean Sciences, unlike you, Martin Sheen, who just fucking sailed in for a term. Paper graduate. Paper graduate. What's the seismic activity say? Well, Martin, do you wanna? Oh, sorry, he didn't know. I'm sorry, he didn't know. Oh, I'm not going to pretend you're the president, but I would have thought that you pretended to be a president, but you didn't pretend to be an Earth and Ocean Science graduate, did you? Oh, never mind. Look, it's not important anyway. Let's all enjoy our quiz environment, and surely you'll help us answer this question.
If you want some more context on this, go back and listen to earlier episodes of Cinema Swirl. I think in there somewhere is the details of this.
This is what I want to know. Can AI facilitate people wanting to know stuff like that? Could an AI be like, that happened in the fucking Dirty Dancing episode?
Do you think like the big AI things have access to transcripts of our episodes by now? Do you think you could just be like, what happens in this episode of Cinema Swirl? It can probably do it. It can probably listen to a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll probably be like, it's just two lads talking about movies. It's probably...
I'm not going to ask it because I've got respect for myself and I'm not going to do it.
One of them's Irish. I don't know which. I think it's Sean Chaplin, that one.
In Cinema Swirl, two British lads chat about movies. Sorry. But yeah, so big fight. She smashes someone over the head with a vase and then apologizes to a painting of her granddad.
Because the whole time it's like, not the vase. So they're like, put the vase on the thing. And then she takes the vase anyway and it's granddad's ashes. This felt like a Jackie Chan bit here. Like, where there was the comedy mixed in. The real problem with it was just, there was an old man who was like, ooh. Like, you go see like a panto. It's like kind of the old one at the back. They don't even know the Sabrina Carpenter song they're parodying. And they're like, ooh. It's a bit indignified.
Yeah. So Zorin's been wanting to buy her family oil company. She has rejected that offer.
She's just a humble oil magnate. That's all she is.
That's all she is.
She's just that. I couldn't get my head around it. The fact that they wanted like his main squeeze, like the main Bond girl in it, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm just an heiress looking out for the well-being of my petroleum endeavor."
This is a weird question, and it's maybe obvious. Is James Bond rich? Like, presumably he gets paid a lot for what he does.
I'm pretty sure from Skyfall, he came from a bit of money, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's also paid very well for what he does, and also I think he doesn't have enough time. Like, I think he's a lad where you might look at his paycheck and go, oh, that's not too much for what you're doing. But then you realise his laundry, his room and board.
Yes, the expenses.
Like, I wouldn't dare push a martini on the taxes now.
No.
Although I did do one for a reverse swirl. It's technically
you can probably write that off. Yeah.
Probably write off that sausage roll as well. Yeah.
We need to do sausage roll swirl on every episode.
I think so. No lie, I had a sausage roll while I was watching this movie.
There you go, now you've talked about it. So,
5 chomps.
Yep.
I was very happy, very, very happy that at this point Bond revealed that he's been known to dabble in the kitchen, and here is what I've made. Quiche de cabinet. Fantastic.
Yeah?
Because it means quiche from the cabinet, and he's used all odds and ends in there. Now, what I liked about the scene was that it came out on a tray that was not fluted, despite the fact that the pastry itself was fluted around the edge. Now, I know you can get a pre-made pastry, but you can't get a pre-fluted pastry. You all right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, what I liked about it, Sam, was that those quiche heads amongst us, those of us who've made a quiche de cabinet, could look at that and go, Bond's clearly bought that from the shop and then put it on the bacon tray to make it look like he's made it. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Because that's what he'd do, isn't it? Like,
I love that the quiche is the bit of Bond here that you've been most passionate about.
It's a hard because she's like, oh, what is it? And he's like, it's an omelette. I'm like, okay, straight away, I'm not eating your quiche. It's not an omelette. No. If you've went for omelette texture, you've went too far.
Yeah.
we're looking for more of a set custard with a matrix of bits.
Could do with a bit of quiche right now, actually.
It's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Underrated, the quiche, I think.
Underrated.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know why I grew up under the idea that quiche was like a healthy thing, because my mom would sometimes be like, oh, we'll just have a slice of quiche for lunch. I'm like, quiche for lunch?
Quiche and salads feels like a healthy lunch, but it's not.
It's not. Yeah. Save yourself the bother. Have a pizza. At least it's not got as much cholesterol.
Now these two need to go down to City Hall to check the plans that Zorin has submitted.
Yeah, we need to do this together as well.
We need to go together. He tracks them down, rumbles them as they're trying to get these plans and figure out what his idea is. He gets the chief geologist to report a break-in and then immediately kills that guy.
There's no respect for the chain of command here.
No.
Because if you're a supervillain like Max Zorin and someone's looking at files, not even in your own base, someone else's base, you send out either a large silent man or a group of 4, maybe 5 uniformed men.
Yeah.
You don't go yourself with a gun in your hands.
Well, this is the confidence of a sort of experiment steroid boy who we would imagine can survive things, but we don't know.
I think the problem is that you want to have the sting of an unannounced Christopher Walken, which is much more impactful. And obviously it makes no sense chain of command wise, but when the door swings open, it's like, alive and well, Mr. Bonds. And Stacy Sutton, you should have considered my more than generous offer. And he talks about what makes him a genius. Do you know why he's a genius, Sam?
Why is he a genius?
Intuitive improvisation, Mr. Bonds, is the reason I am a genius. Nothing to do with any of his superpowers. He's just good at knowing things.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. His plan is to burn this place down with them in it.
Very humble death trap again, Sam.
Yes.
If you're not going to push them into a lake, burn them in a municipal building instead.
We're not going to make sure that you're dead. We have access to guns, but we're gonna.
They killed the geologist.
Yeah, with a gun. With a gun.
Wait a minute. That means I'd have to be dead. Bang. And that would mean that James and Stacy killed them as well. Yeah. Look, if you don't kill her, Bond will. So hurry up, like.
But no, they get trapped in a lift while the building is burning. Tense scene of him trying to pull her out of the burning lift shaft. This. Yeah, good.
One of the better bits of... and when he comes out on top of the burning building and there's a big crowd of people, it did feel very much like, oh, Bond's in America, not where he should be. Yeah. The beautiful building of the beautiful... I'm telling you, View to a Kill is not... There's no irony there. It's a great theme. Yeah. And the way they use it in the score, it looked great. Having a wino literally be like, huh? But I thought the British Empire was dead and gone. Well, it's back, buddy, and it's only going to get bigger from here. Allegedly.
But he gets framed for murder.
Yeah, this donut jockey's like, show me your papers. And he's like, yeah, right. And he shoots him with a fire hose. Using emergency services against each other, Sam.
There's some great cop comeuppance in this. Like that police officer gets blasted with a hose.
Is it the most anti-cop Bond we've ever seen? Because he fucks up the police here. He fucks them up hard.
This cop is like Tony Hawk's Underground level of like... Look at this donut-eating pig. Like, it's really...
Hey, Bond, you better not skateboard. It's up there with Live and Let Die, had a lot of, like, cops exploded and stuff like that. But they show them to be, like, dirty, like, corrupt Southern cops. They're all, like, mopping their brow and spitting and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy was just like, this is a San Francisco cop.
Yeah.
He was fucking them up, Sam. He drives away in a fire truck. The ladder comes off. Cop cars smash everywhere.
Yeah.
Do they work for Zorin? No. Are they in his pockets? No.
They're just trying.
Die.
They're just trying to apprehend what they think is a criminal.
Die.
But there's a bit where Bond is dangling from the fire engine ladder while the fire engine is moving. Accidentally kicks off 2 cowboy hats off some lads who are in their open top car. Bit of fun. A bit of visual fun.
Yeah. This was the thing they dared to introduce back into Spectre, with the singing Italian man.
Yes.
And this was, I'll be honest, I wasn't feeling like Bond was really kind of cool or suave, but I was having a lot of silly fun at this point.
Yeah.
The set pieces were great.
Yeah, we get the big bridge going up and the cop car rolling backwards down it, getting smashed, and then more. They're just smashing the shit out of the cop cars, and all the cops are laughing at this cop.
A view to a kill. A whole lot of policemen, that is. Hang on a second, Stacy. There's one alive. Reload.
Good stuff. Good set piece. Good
Great.
chase.
Very good.
Good.
And he drives that fire truck like it's Grand Theft Auto all the way to the base.
Yep. They now sneak into the mine.
There was a part when he was sneaking in and they're in the fire truck, and Bond dropped a very convincing American accent. He's like, "There's a fire on your ass." And the guy's like, "What?" And he goes and checks it. And then it was very clever what Bond did here. He jump cut behind the truck.
Yeah.
So he's like up in the truck going, "Go check around the back." And the guy goes to check around the back, and then Bond is just there. And he punches him.
Good stuff.
Wow, you should do that more often.
Yeah.
It's very efficient.
This does have a sort of Hitman feeling of, if you put on the clothes and sneak in quietly, you can get in anywhere. Like, you can just sort of...
There was that time when the suitcase came around the corner and hit that guy that Bond threw as well, wasn't there?
So they get into the mine. The plan, Zorin's plan...
And what a plan.
I'm going to try and boil this down, is to create a double earthquake that will flood Silicon Valley.
It's called a super quake, Mr. Chaplin.
I don't really understand the tech here, but with enough blowing up and holes and fault lines and stuff, they're
gonna open up some of the fault lines that exist. There's a fault line that's kind of like on top of a fault line, and they're gonna rush seawater in there.
Okay.
Under the proviso that the seawater is just there to test his new oil pipes.
Yep.
But it's to rush the seawater in and cause a rupture to make the quake get double quaked, and then that means you've got Quake 2, which is better than people think it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So he's got this great plan. Bond and Stacey are sneaking about. Zorin, he doesn't care about the men who have worked for him, or indeed Mayday.
No, he's very flippant.
Yeah.
And there's not much of a reason why they go from being like, oh, him and Mayday have this like kind of unique, close bond. It's somewhere between romance and professionals. And they're just like, no, he doesn't care. And like, it's odd because he cares about like his butler with the scar and the Nazi steroid doctor. Like, they're part of the gang, but she's not. And it's like, mate, you got 3 girls on your goon squad.
Yeah. You've
got probably the most racially and gender diverse squad of villains ever. In why abandon them all? It's a good look for you, Max. That's all I was saying.
You do realise that he's gone full on psychopath, and he's just kind of shooting all the men who are running away that are his own men, just to cover his plan.
And we got one of the bombs going off, and the guy's like, but it'll kill all the men. He's like, good, I hate the men. And then we get a great scene that's basically like in the 2 towers where everything, the base just flooded. Loads of crap goes flying. It was, again, very fun. I liked it. And the movie was like 2 and a bit hours. Them set pieces helped to get, clip away at a nice pace, I thought.
Yeah. It was good stuff. This reminded me a little bit of Hank Scorpio, the bit where he's just shooting up all those men who are working for... I know that there's other bits in Bond that are more like that, but this is another one of those sort of like, okay, yeah, we've got this sort of charming psychopath kind of guy.
It's funny when like a lot of the Bond that we've seen recently has been like stuff trying to, we don't just do the cliches, we don't just do the stuff that's in the parodies.
Yeah.
And to see something where it's like, you know what you're getting, it's Bond, it's the bits from the... Because in fairness, like, they're doing stuff here that's been happening in Bond for like 20 years non-stop at this point.
Yeah.
So I can see why people are like, when they saw it. But if you were used to a more gritty Bond, this is a very silly, very 80s experience to revert back to.
Yeah, it's quite refreshing and nice in a way. We get a face turn from Mayday, because... she has been abandoned.
She's been left behind.
She has.
She's been abandoned to her fate, much like the fishermen of the San Francisco Bay Area. We get one brief moment where the guy's like, oh, where are the fish? And then we're back to like the fucking world ending,
And I thought that creep loved me, is what she says. She's furious for being...
You would be, Sam.
Yeah, you would be.
And particularly because he got on the blimp with his friends, and when he did that, he literally goes, wah.
Is that how blimps all start, by the way? Because it looks like they go into an office and then the office turns into a blimp. That's not how all blimps are, is it?
I want to do a podcast on a blimp so bad, Sam. I got one in a cable car with you. I was very fortunate.
Yes.
Thank you for the experience. But it needs to happen in a blimp.
Yeah. I think that could work. I think it'd be more fun than a plane.
Yeah, most blimps are decommissioned at this point.
You don't see many blimps.
You don't see them these days.
No.
It's because there hasn't been a good year in so long. That's the vibe shift that they're talking about. Now, the bad year blimp, you'll see that everywhere, but it crashes so quickly, it's usually just burned in wreckage.
Yes. So they're up in the blimp to sort of watch the destruction happen from a good... They've got a view to a kill, in a way.
They do.
Yeah.
What a view to a kill. Mayday helps James Bond get out of what appears to be Mordor at this point.
Yes, they've got to fish a big bomb out of a big hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have to get the bomb in the cart. Cart needs to have someone holding it down so it doesn't get stuck to handbrake. And Mayday seems like the kind of girl who wants to blow up spectacularly on the way out. So she's like, please, it's on my bucket list. It's on my vision board. Yeah. I'm going on that bomb cart.
What a fucking cool way to go. You know, that's pretty sick. And she does catch Zorin's eye.
Oh yeah, she catches his eye
just as she explodes. Like that's cool.
It's good, Sam, but I dare say it would have been better if she was in a big rig when it blew up. Same bomb, but in a big rig.
Yeah. Well, are you still thinking about Skyfall and all the kind of... Was it Skyfall that had all the big rigs? What was the Bond with the big rigs? There was one with the big rigs.
there was big rig in Skyfall, but I was thinking about Crow 2.
Yes.
There was a big rig in Crow 2 that we...
More big rigs. More big rigs.
I thought a lot about Crow 2, actually, since I've reviewed the Crow 2 with Sam.
So she's gone. The blimp bastards managed to scoop up Stacey, keep her hostage. Somehow. I can't even remember how they managed to, like, get down, pick her up and take her. Yeah, they get her somehow.
They get her. What is it? Is it skitching when you hold on the back of a vehicle? Is that what Bond's doing here?
Yeah, he's skitching. He's on his skateboard. He's skitching. He's holding on to the ropey bit. They are going over the Golden Gate Bridge. He ties the...
he gets hit in the willy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny.
And he ties the blimp to the Golden Gate Bridge. There's a fracas on the blimp. There's a scuffle.
I will say, much like Die Another Day, Sam.
Yeah.
It's a unique choice of vehicle because a blimp it's an interesting vehicle, definitely, and a spectacular one in its own right. But it's also one where the phrase "full throttle, do it" doesn't really ring true.
Yeah, it's not a full throttle vehicle, really.
Now, are you having fun yet? Because Christopher Walken is on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, brandishing an axe. I
am having fun, and again, having played Mario Kart World, I do want to be doing some sick grinds and boosts on that little bit of, the little raily bit of the bridge.
It's good. Although I will say, Sam, in a race, you're not going to actually make as much time there as you think.
Not on that bit, definitely. That does actually slow you down.
I would say halfway through, you might want to jump back down because you're going to reach a bad ending.
It's satisfying up here, but it's not actually helpful for the race.
So do you want to play Mario Kart? Or do you want to win?
Can you do that in the Christopher Walken voice, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bond. Do you want to play Mario Kart World? Do you want to win?
Good stuff.
There's a special button I press that will make your cart go haywire. Simply. These are just the Koopalings. They accompany me. It's much more realistic in practice with a full complement of go-kart races, don't you think, Mr. Bond?
It's a good fight on a bridge.
I'll take any fight on a bridge.
Yeah, good.
Like, if someone's like, come on, fight me, I'll almost always say no. I'm a pacifist with a bridge exclusion condition.
Yes.
If you want to fight me on a bridge, I'm there.
I almost think it's a traditional thing in Bond to kind of kill the main villain first and then have like a secondary villain still be there.
Secondary. Yeah. And if we were to chart how all the Bond villains die, a lot of them have the spectacular fall to their demise.
Yeah, Zorin gets that here.
Do you think that would be an alright way to go?
I don't know. Falling into water from a great height.
You'd be dead before you hit the ground, wouldn't you?
I don't know how it works.
There's got to be a window where it's fun for a bit, right?
Yeah, especially for like a sort of psychopath. You'd be like,
somewhere after, all my loved ones, but before, don't have to take the bins out this week. You're going to be literally riding high.
Yes, it's not it's not the worst one, I guess, in terms of ways of villain. I mean, people have been fed through like machines and stuff and blown
that's
up,
worse.
And, exploded.
I don't want to be blown up.
No. Well, speaking of blowing up, the secondary villain, the sort of I put Nazi Frankenstein dad.
That's pretty much it.
The doctor who created Zorin.
Yes. And him brandishing a cartoon stick of dynamite, being like, oh no!
What's even his fucking plan? He has it, falls back into the blimp, and the blimp explodes. He's rubbish.
I don't know. Is he going to blow up the Golden Gate Bridge? I'm not
know.
sure what his plan is here, but yeah, he blows himself up. And turns out, Sam, this impressive blimp, it was just a big balloon all along.
Yeah, and down it goes. Stacey and Bond are all right.
Are they ever?
Well, yes, because also the Russians are like, we'd like to reward Mr. Bond for his great bravery here.
Damn. Never mind the Cold War, it's the Cook War at this point. What's this? Like, it's coming in. Oh, hello. Knock, knock. Hi, it's just me. I'm one of the superpowers.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Bond. Oh.
Thanks for doing. And as well, Sam, all due respect, Sam. All due respect. But if he did that coming into the White House, at least.
Yeah.
All right, tipping the cap, these guys might be winning this Cold War. They came into the fucking MI6 office.
It's embarrassing.
Not even the Prime Minister's office, all like.
No.
And the little quip at the end where it's like, well, he saved Silicon Valley, and that means he saved our industry because we just steal your secrets. We have no ideas of our own, you see.
Well, nothing like that has ever happened since, so it's kind of a weird line.
Bond being missing, that's a recurring thing as well.
Yeah.
Almost every Bond movie from more previous, it seems he goes AWOL at the end.
He goes missing in order to shag, and I'm like, Bond,
Do it anyway.
I think they will let you have a few days off for shagging. Like, if you just say, right, well, that's the end of that mission, can I have a little bit of paid annual leave? They'll go, yeah,
A little bit of R&R.
Yeah.
And the R&R stands for hey and
Q is like piloting the robot dog.
Yes, he sends in R2DQ to have a go at. And they give this robot such a perverse fucking long. Bond throws a towel at him, I would have been like, crush it.
That was just to confirm that Bond is alive and that he's cleaning up a few details because they're in the shower up to naughty business.
Yes, it doesn't matter if I'm 57, I can still have all the standing up sex in a shower I want. Sure you can, Roger. Sure you can. You know as well as I do you're not meant to get water on your new eyes. You're meant to keep them clean and dry. And wipe them with. You're meant to wipe them with a special dry microfiber cloth, aren't you? You're not meant to go in the shower anymore.
And there we go. That's A View to a Kill. We get the song again. That's the end of Roger Moore's Bond era. There we go. That's how it ended.
Minions and Gru with a view to a kill.
Yes.
Sam.
Yeah.
I think that was perhaps. I mean, you could tell it was obviously a movie that has been on my special stupid movies that are fun list since I was a lad.
Yeah.
How much of a giggle was it for you though?
It was a right laugh.
Because I mean, I know we've had a right laugh here, but whilst watching, what was your laugh-o-meter experience like? Was it a mirthful time? It was a longer Bond than you probably would have expected.
Yeah.
I certainly longer than I did. Seeing as I've seen it a dozen times before, I was shocked that it was way longer than I thought.
So there's a lot of strengths here. And, it is funny and silly and very tongue-in-cheek Bond that we know not long after this is kind of rethought as a strategy. And we go in a different direction. With Dalton, then kind of with Brosnan, and then really a lot with Craig. I don't think we've ever gone back to this level of silliness since.
Oh, wouldn't it be fun if they did just for once?
Maybe for the new era of Bond, it could be a sort of half an hour comedy series on Amazon Prime.
Well, that's the thing. I've been my theory that I've been saying to anyone who's of a Bond fandom inclination, which is Amazon does when they make content from big franchises that they buy. Speaking as one of the only two men in the world to have seen The Rings of Power Season 2. I know, not many of us left. No. They basically just take what everyone recognizes what they want from the franchise and puts it in.
Yeah.
And then when there's a second season or a second movie, it's like, right, what did we miss out that people like? And we put more of that in the second time. So I think as a result, any group of 1,000 people you interview and ask what you like about Bond, there are people who will invoke the new stuff, the middle stuff, and the old stuff. So Bond going forward, I think, is very likely to have stuff like this in it because many people view it as part of the holistic big Bond experience.
Yeah.
But they don't make them like this anymore.
No, and there's reasons for that, but...
Because Roger Moore is now officially too old.
He's too old.
And dead.
And, yeah, sadly. His performance was a bit... not great.
But if it wasn't, like, if it was great, his performance, this movie would have been a less enjoyable time by my estimation.
Yes. Christopher Walken as a Bond villain, great. Grace Jones as Mayday, fantastic. Them as a pair, brilliant. All the obsession with, computer chips and steroid horses and adrenaline and all. It
felt like none of those gimmicks were strong enough for them to be like, this movie is about this.
Yeah.
They thought that horses could kind of smooth the transition to talking about technology. And then in the end, the technology was just another earthquake device. It wasn't really like, there wasn't much in there about Silicon Valley, really.
But, there were good set pieces. There were good performances. There's an excellent song that's up there with, top Bond themes, surely. That's...
Some good crashy, smashy action as well throughout.
Into the fire.
You'll never walk up the Eiffel Tower in the same way ever again.
No, and for the location they go to in France to be Paris and in the Eiffel Tower is so on the nose.
Let's go to the Great Pyramid in Egypt for luncheon next, You have to meet the Queen in Big Ben Palace.
There's real commitment to the bit, which I like in this. I had fun, but I think I can see this being quite exhausting if you've been used to this Bond era. And
if you're running out of road, this Bond is like more of the same but worse, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, the one question I would have for you though is, do you think it came across like it should be a swill? Because I know there's a lot of people who are adamant that this movie should be a swill versus people who are like, this movie is iconic and important and great in its own ways. But not a swill in your mind.
In my opinion, no. It's still a Bond movie. It's still and again, cinema swirl does not necessarily mean good. It means big. True. And then we've...
Successful of a sort.
There've been exceptions to this, and there's been exceptions to everything. But, it's a big Bond film. Like, the mainline Bond films are probably not going in swill unless there's, a really dog shit one that...
Well, we did Die Another Day in there just because...
Yes, we did actually,
the idea behind that, though, was because it precipitated the biggest gap in Bond movies ever.
Yeah.
And also, it was meant to set up a spin-off franchise, and that didn't happen because that's how unsuccessful the movie was. It killed two franchises. One forever and one for 6 years.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, Jinx heads. It's seeming less and less likely at this point.
Do you think the Amazon Prime thing has made it slightly more likely that they might revive
Probably,
that idea?
Actually, you're right,
just a tiny, tiny little bit.
The James Bond Jr. revival, though.
But I mean, it doesn't belong in swill. It is James Bond, for better and for worse.
Sorry, there's a weird little robot that's just come in. He's looking at me.
Oh.
And I think he wants to know your Star Wipe rating, Sam.
Okay, this is a tough one, I think.
Because it doesn't belong on swill, it's on swirl.
No.
But if it's on swirl, is it among the rich pantheon of high achievers, middle of the road, or is it, in spite of being enjoyable, too poor a quality to get a good rating?
Okay, I think my feelings are being bolstered by a good song and a couple of cool, sexy-looking villains.
So this is Duran Duran and Christopher Walken and Grace Jones are taking a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm going to factor that in and kind of be realistic here. So, A View to a Kill.
A star to a wipe rating, please?
3 star to a wipes.
You heard it here first.